Hi, I'm John Green. This is Crash Course World History, and today we're going to learn about the Roman Empire, which of course began when two totally non-fictional twins, Romulus and Remus, who'd been raised by wolves, founded a city on 7 hills.
Mr. Green, what does SPQR stand for?
It means shut pie hole quickly rapscallion. No, it means Senatus Populusque Romanus, one of the mottos of the Roman Republic. So today we're going to do some old school great man history and focus on Julius Caesar while trying to answer a question. When, if ever, is it okay to stab someone 23 times? Shakespeare answers that question by saying that Roman senators killed Caesar because he was going to destroy the Roman Republic. But even if that's true, we still have to answer whether A, the Roman Republic was worth preserving, and B, whether Caesar actually destroyed it. One of the things that made the Roman Republic endure, both in reality and in the imagination, was its balance. According to the Greek historian Polybius, the 3 kinds of government, monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy, were all found united in Rome. And it was no easy thing to determine with assurance whether the entire state was an aristocracy, a democracy, or a monarchy. At the heart of this blended system was the Senate, a body of legislators chosen from a group of elite families. Rome was divided into 2 broad classes: the patricians, a small group of aristocratic families, and the plebeians, basically everyone else. The Senate was sort of a mixture of legislature and giant advisory council. Their main job was to set policy for the consuls. Each year, the Senate would choose from among its ranks 2 co-consuls to serve as sort of the chief executives of Rome. There needed to be 2 so that they could check each other's ambition, and also so that one could, take care of Rome domestically while the other was off fighting wars, conquering new territory. There were 2 additional checks on power. First, the 1-year term. I mean, how much trouble can you really do in a year, right? Unless you're the CEO of Netflix. I mean, he destroyed that company in like 2 weeks. And secondly, once a senator had served as consul, he was forbidden to serve as consul again for at least 10 years, although that went a little bit like how you say you're only going to eat 1 Chipotle burrito per week, and then there are a few exceptions, and then all of a sudden you're there every day, and yes, I know guacamole is more, just give it to me. But right, we were talking about the Romans. So the Romans also had a position of dictator, a person who would take over in the event that the Republic was in imminent danger. The paradigm for this selfless Roman ruler was Cincinnatus, a general who came out of comfortable retirement at his plantation, took command of an army, defeated whatever enemy Rome was battling, and then laid down his command and returned to his farm safe in the knowledge that one day the 2nd largest city in Ohio would be named for him. If that model of leadership sounds familiar to Americans, by the way, it's because George Washington was heavily influenced by Cincinnatus when he invented the idea of the 2-term president. So along comes Caesar. Gaius? No, it's Gaius. I know from Battlestar Galactica. Gaius Julius Caesar was born around 100 BCE to one of Rome's leading families. His birth was somewhat miraculous, requiring a surgical procedure that we know today as a Caesarian section. Coming as he did from the senatorial class, it was natural that Caesar would serve in both the army and the Senate, which he did. He rose through the ranks, and after some top-notch generaling and a gig as the governor of Spain, he decided to run for consul. In order to win, Caesar needed financial help, which he got from Crassus, one of Rome's richest men. Crassus ran a private fire company whose business model was essentially, hey, I notice your house is on fire. Give me some money and I'll help you out with that. Caesar succeeded in becoming consul in 59 BCE and thereafter sought to dominate Roman politics by allying himself with Crassus and also with Rome's other most powerful man, the general Pompey. You'll no doubt remember Pompey from his fascination with Alexander the Great. Pompey, Crassus, and Caesar were the so-called First Triumvirate, and the alliance worked out super well for Caesar. Not so well for the other 2. Let's go to the thought bubble. After a year as consul that included getting the Senate to pass laws largely because of intimidation by with great man history, maybe Rome became an empire before it had an emperor. Like, remember the Persian Empire? You'll recall that that empire had some characteristics that made it imperial, like a unified system of government, continual military expansion, and a diversity of subject peoples. The Roman Empire had all 3 of those characteristics long before it became the Roman Empire. Like, Rome started out as a city, and then it became a city-state, and then a kingdom, and then a republic. But that entire time, it was basically comprised of the area around Rome. By the 4th century BCE, Rome started to incorporate its neighbors, like the Latins and the Etruscans, and pretty soon they had all of Italy under their control. But that's not really diversity diversity of subject peoples. I mean, nothing personal, Italians, but you have a lot of things in common, like the constant gesticulations. If you want to talk about real expansion and diversity, you got to talk about the Punic Wars. These were the wars that I remember primarily because they involved Hannibal crossing the Alps with freaking war elephants, which was probably the last time that the elephants could have risen up and formed their awesome secret elephant society with elephant planes and elephant cars. In the First Punic War, Rome wanted Sicily, which was controlled by the Carthaginians. Rome won, which made Carthage cranky, so they started the Second Punic War. In 219 BCE, Hannibal attacked a Roman town, then led an army across Spain, and then crossed the freaking Alps with the elephants. Hannibal and his elephant army almost won, but alas, they didn't, and as a result, the Romans got Spain. People in Spain are definitely not Romans, despite Russell Crowe's character in Gladiator, which means that by 201 BCE, Rome was definitely an empire. The Third Punic War was a formality. Rome found some excuse to attack Carthage and then destroyed it so completely that these days you can't even find it on a map. Eventually, this whole area and a lot more would be incorporated into a system of provinces, and millions of people would be ruled by the Roman Empire. And it's ridiculous to say that Rome was a republic until Augustus became Rome's first official emperor, because by that time Rome had been an empire for almost 200 years. There's a reason I'm arguing that the death of the republic came long before Caesar, and probably around the time that Rome became an empire. If anything destroyed the idea of republic in Rome, it was the concentration of power into the hands of one man. And this man was always a general. I mean, you can't march on Rome without an army, after all. Why were there such powerful generals? Because Rome had decided to become an empire, and empires need to expand militarily. Particularly, the Roman Empire needed to expand militarily because it always needed new land to give its retired legionnaires. That expansion created the all-powerful general, and the incorporation of diverse peoples made it easier for them to be loyal to him rather than to some abstract idea of the republic. Julius Caesar didn't create emperors. Empire created them. Next week, we'll be discussing Christianity, so that shouldn't be controversial. Until then, thanks for watching. Crash Course is produced and